Okay, here we go. Coming in. Oh. Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to my garage. In this video, I'm getting Wratchet ready for a outing at the track, the local track, and it's going to be a shakedown run. Honestly, it's going to be a shakedown run for the RV, pulling the trailer, and just that overall experience, because I have not pulled the trailer with the RV yet. The wife and I have used the RV for one weekend just to get us acclimated to it, which was awesome. We had a great time. However, there's I need to do a test run pulling the trailer, and I've already made some modifications here. I had to add new safety chains because the chain hookup point is a little bit farther from the ball on this trailer hitch than on the Jeep, so that's fine. I had to get an adapter for the trailer connector because this trailer has a flat 4, and while the Jeep has a flat 4, the RV has a 7-pin because it's a little bit more legit. And the whole process of selling Mauler and getting the RV and all that all took longer than expected, which that stuff always does. I always underestimate the amount of time things like this are gonna take, which is no big deal. That's what I always do. But I have PTO this week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so the first thing I'm gonna do is get this rig to the track and test all of that out, which will be pretty fun. And but also, I've made a lot of changes, or I've made some changes to Wratchet since the last time I had him at the track. If you remember, the last time I was at the track, I was hitting the track pretty hard. I was bottoming out. Since then, I've made some changes. So I want to get you guys caught up to speed on what I did on that. And then I also, because now the mornings here in Colorado are like in the 30s. We've actually had some 20s. So there's a couple things I need to do to Wratchet to make him a little bit more prepared for the cold mornings. And I'm going to do that today. So let's get to it. Okay, so I think in the last major video for Wratchet, I was setting the bump stops, putting spacers in there so that the bump stops actually bottom out 2.5 inches before the chassis actually hits the bottom. I have not been to the track since I've done that, so hopefully that works. But since that video, I have changed the tires on Wratchet. So he's got brand new tires on him now, and these are not fancy tires. They're just tires that I got off of Amazon. The fronts are 285, 75, 16. So this is a 33-inch tire. It's basically 10.5 inches wide for the most part. The tires that were on here were bald, and they were basically 33, 10.5 also. They were coming in at around 31 3/4, maybe 32 inches, basically because their tread was worn off. And these are a little bit rounder. That might just be because they're new, whereas the other ones were very, very flat and rigid, very rigid sidewalls on the old tires. So this might be a little bit mushier. That's going to be good, and also maybe bad. And then in the rear, he has 315. What are they? 315, 75, 16. These are 35 inches tall, and they are about 11.5 inches wide. So this is, I would say, significantly larger than what was on there before. And of course, what comes with that is it's heavier. It's a bigger, heavier tire. And it's also, like the front's got much squishier sidewalls. I don't know if you can see that, but so Wratchet has this lithium battery tucked away back here. It's pretty small, super lightweight, But lithium batteries, when they get cold, their voltage goes down a little bit. And this battery actually has a BMS, or a battery management software on it. And when it senses the voltage gets too low, it just cuts the battery off so that it never lets it completely die. And what happens is, when in cold weather, and when I say cold, I'm going to say under 30 degrees, maybe 35. I'm not sure. It's done it to me when it's been in the 20s, but it's never done it to me when it's in the 40s. But somewhere around there, the battery, the voltage gets low because of the cold weather. And then when you go to crank it, when you put that draw on it of the starter, it takes it down too low and the BMS shuts it down. So it acts like you have a dead battery, but it's not really dead. What you have to do is heat it up. And what I've done in the garage when I've needed to start it is just blow a hairdryer on it to warm it up a little bit, and then it's good to go. But I'm not going to be able to do that when I'm out at the track, and I'm afraid that if I'm trailering it to the track and it's 20 degrees out, that battery will get too cold. So I bought some adhesive-backed electric heaters, and I think these are the ones I'm going to put on the battery. This one, as long as I'm doing this, I'm also going to put one on the bottom of the oil pan, just so that I can warm the oil up a little bit. But I had to get a little bit creative with the wiring, so I want to show you exactly what I'm doing here. So each of these are 50 watts. They're 120 volts, 50 watts. This is 150 watts, and I have two of these as well. And the problem is, well, let me show you. So this is what they call a portable power station. I bought this for the RV because, and I'm gonna kind of highlight this in another video that shows how I'm using this to do dry camping or boondocking, but you're gonna see me using this a lot at the track. It's basically a 1400 watt lithium battery down here, and then it's got a built-in inverter, and you can charge it with solar, and there's a bunch of stuff you can do. It's pretty cool. But one of the things that has been really kind of fun is over here it shows you your consumption in watts. And so when I turn this on, right now I have one of these plugged in, and this should come in around 150 watts. And I'm going to put a metal bar on here to soak up some of the heat. It's not good to just run these dry, but I'm going to turn this on and show you how hot it gets, and it's watts. So I turn that on, and then if I hit this, it's going to turn on the inverter, and now these are going to be 120 volts, but I'm not plugged into the wall anywhere. This is just running off of the battery. All right, there we go. So now it tells me it's pulling 154, 55 watts, which sounds about right. And it's already warming up a lot. So if I shoot this, it's 159, and I've already done quite a bit of testing here. These actually get pretty hot. 196. I can smell it a little bit too. All right, it's at 217. So now I'm going to turn it off. See, the watts goes back down to 0. So this sucker, this is too hot for the battery. This would be fine connected to the engine, but my lithium battery, I just want it not to be 20 or 30 degrees. I want it to be like maybe 80, 90, 100 degrees. I don't want to cook it. I don't want to melt it. So here's what I want to do. I've got these two, and these are both 150 watt. So both of these are plugged in now. And when you plug them in like this, basically these are now in parallel. So I'm going to put something on there and put something on there. Now I'm going to turn this on again, and because this is in parallel, I should be around 300 watts. There we go. 311, 12, 10. Basically,
300 watts. So, ooh, look at that. She's working. She's like, holy crap, 300 watts. And then this is telling me that at 86% charge, it could do this for 3.5 hours. Okay, so that's cooking. 217. 278. Good Lord. Okay, so I'm going to turn that back off. So when you connect these in parallel, wow, I can feel that heat. So like I said, that would be okay on the oil pan, because the oil and the metal of the oil pan would just suck that heat away. So no big deal. But that would not work on my battery. That's too much for my battery, for sure. So what I did is I took these two and I wired them in series. So actually what's happening is the power comes this way. It goes into this one and goes through this heating element, which is a resistor. But instead of going right back, it then goes into this one, and it also goes through this heating element or resistor. Then it goes back. And when you do that, for whatever reasons, I can't explain it to you, the resistance on something like this, it doesn't get cut in half. It goes down to 1/4. So these are both 50 watts. If we plugged them in parallel, like these were, then they would draw around 100 watts. But because I have them wired in series, they should be around 25 watts, which seems crazy, but that's what should happen. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the AC power. Just turned on, and there we go. Now that's cooking at 25, so it's 1/4 of the 50, or it's 1/4 of the total capacity of these two, which would have been 50 and 50, 100 watts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up a little bit, wrap it up, make it nice and clean, and I'm going to run over there and I'm going to stick it to either side of the battery, and I'm also going to drop this skid plate and stick that big one to the bottom of the oil pan, and then run the cords out over there so that it's a nice convenience place to plug in. All right, so the adhesive that came on that wasn't working very well, but I then just, once I peeled that off, I just put spray adhesive on the rubber pan, spray adhesive on the oil pan, and now it seems to be sticking extremely well. And then I just ran the wire up front. I still need to pull that up and run it through there. And then over here on the battery, the self-adhesive on these worked just fine, probably because the surface of the battery was nice and smooth. So I've got one of these on either side. Then I've got a little bit of cloth in between the battery straps just to protect this a little bit. Okay, now I've got the cords coming up here to this splitter, and then this right now is plugged into the wall. And that is 130 degrees, and the battery itself is 59 degrees. So I'm going to give that about half an hour. I'm going to go run inside, have some lunch, and then we will come back out here and see if anything has melted down. Okay, now it's been exactly 30 minutes. Let's see where we're at. All right, so that is 178 degrees. 191, so that thing's still cooking. Top of the battery is 62, and the end of the battery is 58. So it's only gone up a couple of degrees as far as the internal temperature. And then if we come back here, that is at 66 degrees. And if we shoot higher up, it's 62. And if we go way up, it's 56. So the oil's warming up a little bit. Just fine. That was 30 minutes. All right, guys, that's it for this video. I just want to give you a little heads up as to what I had changed on Wratchet. And to be honest with you, I just wanted to give you a little sneak peek because I'm so excited for this Wednesday to get Wratchet and really to see how the RV does pulling Wratchet and to have all of that at the track. I'm really excited about that. So I wanted to kind of give you a little sneak peek before I just hopefully get some really good footage on Wednesday at the track. Fingers crossed. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.